Thanks for joining us for our Learning Lab series. I'm just going to give us a few minutes here for everyone to get logged in and join our meeting. Hope everyone is having a good Wednesday so far. It's a beautiful day here. I'm in New Hampshire. I'm joined with Kate and Jenna. Do you guys want to let everyone know where you're tuning in from?
Sure. It's a small town, Victor, Idaho. It's outside of Jackson, Wyoming, where our TDS Health headquarters are located.
And then I'm Jenna, and I am in Scottsdale, Arizona. So we are nearing the hundreds here. So I am on the surface of the sun, essentially. So starting summer.
Yeah, we're just getting tulips and buds and all of that. So we're a little bit different in this area.
Beautiful. And if anyone wants to pop in the chat where they're signing in from, we always like to hear, it's nice to have kind of a nice community here in this virtual world, just knowing where everyone's coming from across the country. So if you want to pop that in our chat, feel free. I think we're good to go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Julia. I'm joined with Kate and Jenna, and we're part of our customer engagement team here at TDS Health. And this is our Learning Lab series, one of our webinars in this series that you're tuning into today. We're focused on our core concepts and foundational concepts with our resources at TDS Health. And that's what we're going to be diving into today. We have a quick demonstration, and we also want to just leave this kind of open-ended for questions. So if anyone has anything that comes up as we're going through our presentation, feel free to, again, enter that into our chat. Kate is going to be monitoring it and facilitating that so Jenna and I can assist with anything that might come up. We're also happy to help after this call. If there's anything more specific that you want to dive into, you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to help either ourselves or with your dedicated territory manager to assist with the resources you already have. Or if there's something that you see here that you might not have access to already with your subscription, we're happy to take a look and further explore. So without further ado, let's get started. So again, today's focus is really on how we can prime our learners with our resources for foundational knowledge. As I mentioned, I'm going to quickly touch on exactly what do we mean by foundations. We're then going to go into our first resource, DITKey, which has some tools for self-study and self-reflection on these core concepts. Jen is then going to take over, look at primal pictures for clinical connection review. And then we'll finally be rounding out the session with Stat Pearls, looking at their articles and other foundational resources within that platform. So what do we mean by foundations? At TDS Health, as you just saw, we have a portfolio of different products, and these products are not only for specialties, but also, like I keep mentioning, foundations. With these foundations, we really mean core concepts. So what we have seen a lot with different faculties and different professors through our different conversations at TDS Health is that a lot of students or residents are coming in without having this basic knowledge in anatomy and physiology, in basic sciences, everything like that. They could have learned those concepts, let's say, back in high school and be transferring those over into their education now, or this could have just been something that they learned a few years ago and they want a refresher on that. These resources that we're going to be showing you today are part of our portfolio that is really focused on making sure that these foundational and core concepts are very strong in all of your students and learners. We have quite a few different options so that however students study best, they have these types of tools readily available for them to be able to be reiterating these types of core concepts again and again. This is again very popular with, of course, all of our different educators and librarians that we partner with to be able to really set themselves apart from other institutions by offering these resources. Not having students coming in and feeling like they're overwhelmed with just the curriculum in front of them and don't have support for things that they've learned in the past, but feeling like they're confident, they're taken care of, and they have lots of information readily available for them, which we're going to dive into now. Are there any questions on what we mean by foundations? Anything that we want clarification on at this point before we jump into the resources?
Julia, I will say, just to clarify for the attendees, looks like we have the chat disabled, but the Q&A section is open. So I know we said drop in the chat, but if you have any questions, feel free to use that Q&A option in there. That way that we're able to see it, but that's all I wanted to make note of.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenna. I appreciate that. Always funky with these kinds of webinars, so thanks for bearing with us on some of this. Great. So I'm going to go into our first platform that we're going to take a look at, which is Dickey. As you can see on my screen here, I have all of the different courses within Dickey available, but this view may differ depending on your institution and what you all currently subscribe to. You can see this is broken out by all of our different levels that we have. We can see it by as low as high school up to undergraduate, as well as graduate and medical. We also have a different area for integrated systems. All of the concepts within each of these courses will be laid out very similar. So I'm going to go into our anatomy and physiology, which is one of these great core concept style courses, just to take a look at exactly what we can offer. You can see here as I scroll down, let's take a look at the heart module. Within this module, we have quite a few different tutorials, as you can see on the left-hand side here, as well as our different flashcards on the right-hand side. These flashcards, again, are great for that self-study and self-review as students are going through each one of these different tutorials. I'm going to click into just one of these tutorials on the left-hand side and bring up our Dickey panel. Dickey is a collection of short videos created by Dr. Fish that really builds upon a very succinct style of learning, which is whiteboard learning with drawings being added as the scene is going on. So you might have seen Dickey and some other something similar to Dickey in other areas with these whiteboard styles. But what Dr. Fish and the Dickey platform has done differently is create this so it is a really
Here we'll learn the
easy to use and easy to follow building platform. As you can see, I'm going through the resource now, and we're seeing the heart being built out with these different layers and concepts being added on. So this is great for a very visual learner or an auditory learner to be able to follow along with these videos. We also have our different notes on the right-hand side. Again, this will be the same for every course and lesson that we have. All of the different info here. And what really can set Dickey apart from any other resources that might be similar is our drawing pad and our quizzes. Going into our drawing pad, we'll be met with that initial video that we saw, but what I want to highlight is on the left-hand side here, we have what's called our Canvas templates. We can have a blank canvas that students could follow along with that video that we had just seen. We can also have a starter canvas that brings us to that first initial screen that was in that video, or a label canvas that brings us to an area where students will be able to go in and label all these different diagrams that they just saw, which is great for, again, that study, self-review, or a flipped classroom module. They can use these tools on the left-hand side here of adding text, drawing and marking up the image, and of course, some different other options so that they can make this very unique and custom for their specific learning style. I'm also going to go into our quiz area as well. These quiz questions, again, are custom for each one of these different tutorials that we have within Dickey, and it's great for that self-study and self-review. You can simply click on whatever answer you think, and you're immediately met with the response and that question rationale, which again is great to be able to use as a self-study tool. Going to our next question, you can see that layout will be very similar across all of the different quizzes within Dickey. I do want to highlight we have some different downloads as well that you can use, drawing, PDF, notes, etc. You can see here we have some teaching slides as well. So I wanted to highlight this for our administrators or faculty members on the call. We do have these teaching slides, as well as if I go back to the course, we can see some other administrative features on the top here, which is a great and easy way to download this. And again, use that in your review for students who are coming in and wanting some help with those foundational concepts.
Julia, we have a question from the group. What is the purchase model of Ditki? I think they're referring to, do you get all of the courses when you showed that initial dashboard?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for whoever had asked that. So Ditkey can be very custom. You can get all of the courses that you see on the main screen. You can just get one of them. And another thing that really sets Ditkey apart and what we are happy to work with you on is creating a custom course. So if there's a specific area of foundational content that you want to make sure that your students have access to review, the Ditkey team can work with your curriculum specifically and create, again, a custom course page here that will have all of the modules that are specifically relevant for you. So again, just to reiterate, this can get as custom as you want, as much content as you want, or as niche and specific as your institution needs.
Yeah, that's a great point. If there's anyone on the call that does currently have Ditki and they haven't done this and would like to do that, they can reach out to me, the sender of the invite, and we can coordinate with you if you want customization options. And it's actually Ditki's founder, Dr. Fish, that gets involved along with his staff in terms of that customization. So reach out to us if you have Ditki already and want to explore that.
Thank you, Kate.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments on Ditkey or anything else that we've chatted about so far?
There's no other open questions.
Well, I'm going to stop sharing and I will hand it over to Jenna.
Thanks, Jules. Okay, so I'm going to pick off where Jules left off, but I'm going to hop into two other resources that we have called Primal Pictures and Stat Pearls. So I'll go ahead and swap that. We're going to go ahead and start with Primal Pictures. And so for those who have Primal Pictures, this may be a familiar screen to you, and those who don't, a very quick, brief background. Primal Pictures, also known as Anatomy TV, we use them interchangeably, is a virtual anatomy resource. So the content in here varies from specialty level to education level, and then also content type. So we've got anything in here from virtual dissections to some learning outcomes, and then also some more niche clinical material if you have something like a speech language pathology program, dentistry, chiropractic. So a bunch of good material in here. With the topic of today's session being foundational and core concepts, I wanted to lean into a couple modules in here specifically, and one of them being the anatomy and physiology module, which I have pulled up here. When we talk about the anatomy and physiology module with Primal, think of that like a standard 201, 202 undergraduate level anatomy and physiology course. And the reason we're focusing on this is a very common prerequisite for health education programs, whether that is at an undergraduate level, a graduate level, or postgraduate. Almost everyone has taken that 201, 202 course. And we've had some feedback from faculty that because there's not as much control over that content, if they took that at a prior institution, or if that's something that was in the first semester of their courses, that knowledge may not be sticking as much as they would want it to. And, as we know with health sciences, everything builds upon itself. So the anatomy physiology module in here is meant to look like an interactive textbook, but it's going to have a little bit more than just that textbook piece to it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the lymphatic system specifically. And what we'll see is that we are met with a dashboard on the left, some images in here in the center, and then what I would consider a virtual textbook over here on the right. You're going to have some learning objectives. I can move myself over. And then it's going to give you some content as if you're reading through a textbook. So we're seeing a lot of programs utilize this for review. If they're about to cover a certain concept that relates within anatomy and physiology, they're referring their students back to this module specifically to look through those models and those images. and then also use some of the interactive capabilities in here to refresh their learning. So in addition to the models in here that we have, there's also some interactive content in here. So interactive learning, anything from a point and click tool, a matching tool, a self-guided quiz. There's quite a bit in here for you to be using for review if you're trying to remember something specifically. So that's one I really wanted to point out. We're seeing that used quite a bit because these concepts are so present anywhere from nursing, medical, OT, PT, allied health programs, the core concepts of anatomy and physiology, they're gonna follow you throughout your program. So like I said, these interactive learning capabilities, those are all through here for you to use, whether, like I said, it's a point and click, a matching, you have those in here for your use. And then, as I pointed out, some quizzing content. And then these are similar to the interactive learnings where they're more just a self-guided tool. So you're able to move through these quizzes. It's mainly for the student just to refresh their knowledge of material as they move through. I got that one right. So in addition to that, there also is this little piece down here on the bottom left called clinical correlates. And I like to point these out, especially for clients who have programs within that clinical space. If you've got a nursing program, a medical program, anything that's going to have actual, patient case study focus, even if you just want to teach from a clinical space for your allied health programs to lean that in more, there are these clinical correlates in here. And what they're meant to do is they're meant to give you a clinical situation and apply the anatomy to it. So again, a really nice review for those who may need a refresher on some of these key concepts before they're going into either a case study or they're going into the next semester. This is really good material to use as a refresher. Any questions on that so far?
There's a question about the primal content. Is there anything more advanced than this, than the A and P level?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So wrapping up the anatomy and physiology module specifically, that was the basis of the content that I just went through. I do want to reinforce over here on the left-hand side for those who are current users, a reminder of your sharing tools. So you have the ability to link directly into here. You can embed this into your LMS system if we have that set up. If you don't, let us know and we can work with you on that. And then also you can download and save content in here. So just a reminder for whether you are a librarian on this call or faculty, how you can use this content. Those are some of your use cases. Specifically talking about some maybe higher level material. In addition to the anatomy and physiology module, we have a lot of material in here, anything from functional, and then we've got some virtual dissection content, and then related specifically to pathology and diseases. But I want to point out the medical learning outcomes specifically. So this is one of the newer modules within the Anatomy TV threshold. Essentially, what they did is they built out some medical learning outcomes based on the Anatomical Society for Medicine that align with the anatomy curriculum within a medical school student. And so what you'll see in here is it's set up more like a virtual learning and lecture platform. So we can search by topic. And so let's say we want to look specifically at head and neck. And then within here, we have different medical outcomes that we can use for review. So let's go ahead and pull up Dr. Michaela's, and what you'll see is that you're met with a video that will have her lecturing on the content specifically. And then down below, you will see those key structures that will be utilized within the video that you're able to follow along with specifically for that medical learning outcome. So in here, you'll be able to look at that content, move through, and then also that aligns with the video that corresponds with it. And then in addition, there may be some additional content in here, whether that's some cadaver imagery, a slide, anything like that. So really, these are meant to align with what's expected at a medical student level to understand for these concepts. So if you've got some residents who may need some refreshers, if you have some medical school students who maybe need something to reinforce as they're moving along, this is something that could be really useful for them to review. That's a great question. Any other questions specifically with primal pictures that anyone needs me to address or cover?
No, no other questions in the chat and the Q&A.
Okay, and like Kate said ahead of time, if you're not sure what you have access to, or if you have this specific one, feel free to reach out to her or your rep if you're, connecting with them currently. We'll be able to get you in touch with the right person to review that with you. If there's nothing else related there, I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into stat pearls. I know we're doing a huge shift to something else, but this is one of our newer partnered products. And so again, for those who have stat pearls, this may be a familiar sight to you. For those who don't, you may be like, what the heck are you talking about? So specifically, stat pearls is going to look similar to some other question bank style platforms that you may have seen. So what you'll have is the ability to create quizzes as either a faculty member or as yourself as a student from various different question banks, depending on what you access. You can build up those depending on what you want to test yourself on. So starting with that, I'm in the audiology question bank, just for example's sake. Tying this into that foundational core concept, you have the ability in here to take self-guided study quizzes. So let's say you want to go through and just refresh yourself on material that maybe has fallen to the wayside that you haven't seen in a while. You have the ability to do that when you're creating a quiz for yourself. And then you also can adjust on difficulty levels. So if you're really wanting to do some, maybe basic and moderate questions as a review, we can adjust that difficulty level when building your quiz. Or let's say you really want to ramp up at an expert or difficult level, you can again make those selections when making quizzes to really figure out what you're looking to review and at what level. In addition to that, you can also build your quiz by science, question search, topic search, all different types of specifications in here. So like I said, if you're wanting to really lean into something specifically, let's say the nervous system, you can make that selection to build a quiz out and to review that through. So I wanted to touch on this because Stat Pearls does have that question bank piece to it. And I think that it's really good to understand that you have the ability to use these questions, not only always in a testing environment, but you can do them in like a self-guided quizzing environment. So right now we have it in a study mode. So if I was to go through and create and take a quiz, I can answer the question, submit it, find out that I'm wrong, and then move through and actually review the content as I see it. So it doesn't have to always be for a grade. It can be just for self-guided quizzing and testing and reinforcing learning. But the main thing I wanted to point out within Stat Pearls that I think is really useful for those who are looking to do some, foundational refresher and core concept are the articles that are within Stat Pearls. So on the left-hand side down here, you'll see this little area called articles. And when you pull that up, it's going to bring you all different peer-reviewed PubMed articles that are associated with the question bank that you're looking at. So if you've got a couple different question banks, you might have to pop into this drop down here, switch to the one you're looking for. For example's sake, let's stay in audiology. And what you'll see are all these different articles that relate specifically to the question bank that you have. And so if we were to pull up this anatomy, head, neck, and anatomy, head and neck and ear, when we open that up, you'll be met with an article right here on your screen. And I think this is really where you can use this to reinforce some of those concepts that maybe have fallen to the wayside, or you're getting ready for a case and you need to remember something. And so what we'll see is this article, which will give you a lengthy description of the topic, as well as some background content, clinical significance, and then if there's some images that relate, figures, those will be placed in here, and then also your references. And so I think that's a really nice place to go if you're really trying to remember some content, or as a faculty member, if you really want your students to prepare for something, you can assign them an article like this prior to a case or a course load. specifically for the library faculty, wanting to pop any of these specifically on a LibGuide for a certain subject. There's a lot of ways you can be utilizing this to reinforce material. And then lastly, in addition to the ability to read those articles, you can then also build quizzes from those articles. So let's say that you've decided this anatomy, head, neck, and ear, this is something that I want my students to read and then answer some questions on. That's what I want to do. If we go back into that article list, you'll see right next to it that there's a quiz, there's 12 quiz questions associated specifically with this article. And you as a student can either take that quiz yourself and review through after reading that article, or as a faculty member, you can then assign that to your students to then read that through that article and then test themselves with this quiz. So a couple different reinforcing agents in here that you're able to use. Well, that's about all I have specifically for the material I was going to review. The end here, we have about 5 minutes left. If any other pressing questions have come up or anything that you all want to clarify on, please feel free to drop that in. We're happy to help while we're here.
I just want to, I don't see any other questions popping up, but I wanted to point out as we close this, there's an opportunity to fill out a survey. And it indicates, how the session went today, but also gives us insight if there's other things you want covered in the near future. And then certainly if you want one-on-one training sessions with our customer engagement team, we're always willing to offer that. Again, if you want to explore the DITKey curriculum matching, we can certainly do that with you. If you have that product, we can explore the embeddable viewer of Primal Pictures. And then as Jenna mentioned about Stat Pearls, there's a lot of various other tools in addition to the question banks if you're curious about those. So reach out to us and we can certainly help get you to the right person if it's not us. It might be your rep, not us, but dependent on the need. But yes, please fill out that survey to indicate what future sessions might be helpful for you if you want to be part of these national sessions moving forward. We're really flexible and want to meet everyone's needs, make sure that we're covering the kind of information that you want to hear about from TDS Health. So I think we're all set then. No more questions as I'm seeing.
Great.
Okay.
Well, thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Thanks, Jenna and Julia, for this presentation. Talk to everyone soon. Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.